Okay, gang, let's talk about the Verizon Connect forward-facing camera. It's a Smart Witness CP2. Let's go ahead and unbox this. First thing, there's our camera right there. So you see what it looks like. It only has a forward view. You need to pay attention to this part right here. When you look at this little piece, it's kind of in the direction of what the lens of the camera is seeing, and this will be important later on when we're installing this. Because that'll show you which way the camera's facing, if it's too high, too low, or if it's level. Let's open the box up, see what we've got in here. Got this little guide, which we don't need. Got some paper and junk, which we don't need. They provide a harness with 2 fuses. This is so you can turn this in like a quick disconnect, and you'll see there's a 3-pin plug on the end, and it only goes in one way. The idea behind this is to hook up this red, white, and ring terminal. Red will be constant 12. White is going to be going to a switched ignition source. And of course, the ring terminal is going to get grounded with a self-tapping screw to any painted metal surface that provides a good ground. Of course, inside the bag, we have the camera itself. Here's the camera. Important things you need to know. The serial number of the camera is right here. Also, the other serial number for the camera is here on the end of the box. Do not use this green number. It's useless. It won't mean anything. You need this right here. This is your camera serial number. So, we'll also look at this on the side real quick. You'll see there's a key. They provide you with a key to open this up, and there's a plug that will go in there. There's also a button that can enable this thing to record and do other functions. This camera does not record audio. It is pure video only. So this is the camera. There's a serial number. In case you lose the box, again, serial number is on the left. Serial number is right here on the back of the camera. Other thing that's important is there is a power supply here that converts 12 volts into 5 volts. There is an input and an output on this. The DC input will go into here, and 5 volts will be coming out through a different style 6-pin plug on this side. On the side of this, there's a switch that shows on and off. You want to make sure that the switch is set to the on position. Also, we have inside of here, there is a cable. This is the cable that will go from wherever you're getting power for the camera from. This cable will actually plug into the power supply. And let's see, here's our 6-pin plug here. This will actually plug into this. It'll snap into place. And the other end of this is going to go into the camera. There's enough cable here to run from just about underneath any dashboard and up into along the A-pillar and across the headliner to where the camera is going to be located. So if I go ahead and open this up, you'll see there's plenty of cable. There's also extra plugs on here. These extra plugs, it's crucial. Do not cut these off. These extra plugs are to add a driver-facing camera, which is a new product from Verizon. That driver-facing camera, of course, goes on the inside of the vehicle facing the driver, and it mounts alongside of the CP2 camera. Other piece we have here that's important, let's look at this. This is our actual power supply cable, or harness, if you will. Lots of wires in there. Again, the way this hooks up is our 12 volts ignition and ground are all connected. This plugs into the down converter from 12 volts to 5 volts. On the end of this, you're going to see a bunch of extra cables and whatnot. We're not really concerned with those. There's extra cabling in there for inputs and other options that we really don't concern ourselves with. One thing you do want to do is take the time to zip tie these 2 fuses together here. Just put 1 zip tie around it, cut it. After that, you're going to have of course, here's the plug with red, white, and black. Now, it's up to you. If you want to use this plug and plug it into here, and it snaps into place, and then piggyback this onto an existing connection or whatever you want to do. That's up to you. I typically don't like having all this extra cable inside of the vehicle, so when I can get away with it, I don't use that extra harness at all. I'll actually cut these right here. I'll cut this plug off. Now, I've got my red, white, and black, which I can also piggyback onto a standard harness that we use for GPS. This one happens to be for a Zergo type box. So I can actually add these using, say, a butt connector to here, or I can actually go to my source, double these up. I can also double up on my ground. There's no problem with doubling your ground on this. It will not affect the operation of the camera or the GPS unit. So, ground to ground, white to white, red to red. Red, of course, is constant 12. White is a switched ignition source, and black is ground on this setup. Once all these are connected, the next thing we want to do is there's a little package that contains the key for getting into the side of the camera. And this key will open this up. Goes in. It's a ACE type key. You just turn it towards you to unlock it. There's a little tiny tab here. Press on the tab, and it will open this up. Now, what happens is with this is, say that we're mounted to the windshield, camera's got to go up or down. Just pull this out a little bit, and you go up, press it back in, put the cap back on, and lock it into place, like so. So now that's in there, it's ready to go. If it's stuck to the windshield, the way this other thing plugs in as well is, this is the actual power cable for the camera. It plugs in one way into the end of this. You'll hear it click when seated, so we're good. You do not want to rotate this 360. It is not capable of doing a 360-degree rotation. So typically you're going to be going upwards towards the headliner of the vehicle. So that's that. Sometimes you may be able to go downward with it, but if you have to go down, typically we'll bring it towards us. We're mounting it towards, say, the bottom of a windshield for some reason. And this will go up into the headliner and across. You're also provided with these little tiny stickies to go on clean glass and little tiny zip ties to secure the cable to the glass. Also, it's very important to know that the adhesive works really, really well on this camera. It's very forgiving. You need to make sure that your glass is clean. They provide an alcohol prep pad to clean the glass, but always make sure you take a paper towel or something and clean that glass until it squeaks. This way you get good adhesion of this bracket to the glass itself. And once you get it stuck on there, take a minute, 30 seconds, and just kind of press around the edges, give it a little wiggle and push in without being too hard on it. You want to make sure this seats and all the air bubbles are pushed out. This camera will stay in place. Now, when you're looking at the camera, if for some reason you're using the app and you can't get the actual view, just remember this part right here, this little eye on the side, if this thing is facing downward towards the hood, well, you know you're not going to see anything. If it's facing, when the camera's installed, if it's facing up, well, you're not going to see anything at all. If you're sitting in the driver's seat or passenger seat, and this is looking out level towards the front of the truck, level or maybe one tiny click downward, that's probably going to work out really well. Most of your windshields are, vary in angle, but the key is to look at this, and you can almost eyeball it and get it right every time. It's very forgiving. The camera has a 170-degree field of view, so it can see everything left and right. And you also want to make sure that the camera is mounted straight and horizontal, and it's not crooked or canted. Once you have this where you want it, again, take this cap. It slides over the end. Lock it into place with the key. Give your POC the key when you're done. So that's pretty much as far as assembly goes. So we'll do a quick review. Here's the camera. The camera's, say, attached to the window, ready to go to work. We look at our end from the side view as it's attached to the window, and our eyeball here is level, so looks like we're going to be okay. We can actually go down one click if we want. It's entirely up to you. Once you install a few of these, you'll get the hang of it, and you'll be fine. When you run this cable, make sure you do not go across or over the top of any airbags in the left A-pillar at all. Try to run it behind it, so if the airbag goes off, nobody gets hurt. And again, this cable will go all the way down to the power supply, and it gets plugged in on one end. It's impossible to mess this up. 6 pins on one side and 8 pins on the right. Don't forget, make sure the on switch is on. Easy way to test this: when you have your ignition hooked up, go ahead and turn the key on. You'll see a small red light glow, and you'll be able to see it inside of this. Even when you turn the key off, it's going to stay on for a little bit. It stays energized, so don't worry about that. Make your connections again. Make sure you zip tie and bundle up all your extra cabling using zip ties. Make sure everything is secure and nice and tight, and nothing is being pulled on any of the connectors. We want everything kind of snug in there. And again, the other thing that you're going to need to activate this camera is these cameras all have to go with the device. So it's important, if you're adding a camera to a vehicle that already has a device, find the device, get the serial number off of it, which is up here on top. Sometimes you won't need to. It'll be contained in the work order. Sometimes it won't be in the work order. So you're going to need the serial number for the device, and you don't have to do anything with it. Just get the serial number. Then, again, you're going to have to make sure you have the serial number for the camera. And either using the app, you can actually check this in with the app. Sometimes it won't go through. If there's a problem, make sure you call it into tech support while on site. Let them know that I cannot check this in. Give them the camera number. Worst case scenario, you may have to call back. If it's on the weekend, you may have to call back on Monday between 8 and 5, and somebody will take care of this. Important thing is get your vehicle information, your GPS device serial number, the camera serial number, and you'll be in good shape. Last but not least, if you are adding a driver-facing camera, there are connectors that are already built into this. It's pretty much plug and play. Plug the cable in from the driver-facing camera, screw it down tight, tuck everything back up, the cable back up into the headliner. The other camera will go alongside of this on the right or on the left, depending on where the driver view is. And again, that will have a serial number also. Make sure you record that number so it goes with this camera and the GPS device. So, quick recap. Red, white, black. Constant 12, switched ignition, self-tap ground. Existing device installed. You can piggyback your connections onto that. Red, white, and black onto the existing GPS. Zip tie around your fuses. Zip tie around your bundle. Secure your 12 volt to 5 volt transformer. Make sure all this stuff is nice and tight. Run your cable up to the camera, and you're ready to go. That's it. When you power this up, these 3 red lights will light up, red, green, and blue. And just leave the key on for, say, 5 minutes before attempting to call it in, and you'll be in good shape. And just provide the tech support people with the information or record it, however you're working with it, and you're good to go. And that's pretty much it. There is an install guide available at install.verizonconnect.com, and look at Reveal North America. And there's an older style camera that's listed in there, but bottom line is red, white, black, all the way across. All this stuff plugs in together. The only thing you don't need or is optional is this additional harness. It's up to you if you want to use it or not. And there you have it, my friends. Enjoy.